Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Eleanor. This past week, I read two short novels by Colette. They go together. The first one is Chéri, and the second one is The End of Chéri. Two new translations have come out last year and the year before, 23 in 2023 and 2022. Each of them including both novels in the one volume. And probably because I think it was Colette's 150th birthday anniversary in 2023. Suffice to say, it's a great opportunity to read newly translated French novels. And boy, I have been shaken up by these two short books. What I mean in the title by feeling strange while reading Chéri, it's disconcerting, or it was to me, to come across this author that I'd heard about so often, never read her until last week when I read Break of Day. And I expected these two books to be one thing, and there was something really quite different. If I were to summarize the main thing in these two books that really struck me very powerfully, is the contrast between the aesthetics of the language and also of the lifestyle of a group of courtesans, and the darker reality, the dark sort of, I guess, underbelly of the life. And why it shook me up is because it's not really a book about courtesans. And by that I mean, these, high-class prostitutes really that were living in and around Paris at the end of the 19th, early 20th century. It's not really about that at all. It's about how people get hurt. People get hurt, and I'm not talking about physically. As time passes, things that you take for granted change, and they change with time because the body changes as well. And as your body changes, your needs change, and the people around you view you completely differently. And it's not only about an aging woman, it's also about the aging young man. It's not only about courtesans living off their beauty, it's also about them being savvy businesswomen who may end up with a male child and might really need to decide how they want to bring him up. And that speaks volumes to everyone and anyone. A mother is a mother, a son is a son, and love is love, or so they say. The word love is bandied about a bit in this book, and I don't for a moment think that there's true love being described in any capacity. It shocks me that so many reviews talk about, I don't want to give, I'm not going to do spoilers, but some reviews, quite a few reviews, talk about the love between certain characters, and I don't see any love at all. I see a lot of tenderness and care and obsession, a physical attraction. I think what is most powerful about this is that through her descriptions, and I'm talking here about Colette, the author, so through the author's ability to bring you in and out of different points of view and very deftly steer away from tropes love affair tropes, wedding tropes, marriage tropes, prostitution tropes, any sort of trope that has to do with sexuality, as she veers her way around those. I mean, I'm being kind by calling them tropes, but they're really cliches in my mind. She takes away everything that's boring. It's boring to see another wedding. It's boring to see another lover crying over lost love. What she does is clarify how we as humans are imprisoned in our own bodies in a way. We have no control over our aging. We may try to, but we will, if we live long enough, we will get old. And when it comes to what you desire, what you want out of your life, you are still within that physical body, functioning in it at all times. And I think that's what made these two books, that's why these two books made me feel so very strange. I suddenly felt myself as an entity within a body more than I'd felt ever before. And nothing prepared me for that. I mean, I'd read a little bit. I read that Virginia Woolf said, she wrote somewhere or said somewhere that reading Colette makes her feel dowdy because Colette is always so fancy and dressed up. And I mean, I don't know, did Virginia Woolf even read Chéri in the End of Chéri? Because that's not even it's not even close to anything that I've heard about, that I felt when reading these books. And then other people have mentioned that Colette's writing is like is like confectionery. It's just like the icing and the whipped cream and the beauty and there's just so much ugliness in this book. And it's what is so effective is that it's on the face of it, it's all beautiful. It's what I think the young generation today calls aesthetics, it's making everything aesthetically pleasing. Colette as a writer is superbly demolishing that, but it happens in such a subtle way that it felt like I was being almost tricked into realizing what the world is really about. And it made me very sad. I found these two books to be very upsetting and distressing. And, the protagonist is Chéri. The protagonist is a young man. There's a World War I that's happens unseen in between the first book and the second book. And it is a delight to see him older and to see, to follow characters 10 years later is always something that I just, absolutely cherish, It's sort of like when I first read when I was little and I read Little Women, and then I kind of discovered that there was this was the sequel called Joe's Boys. And oh my God, Joe gets married and has boys? Like, what is happening? This is fantastic. So there is that excitement, and the books are page turners for sure. But my God, it's like a horror story. The book read to me like a horror story. And I'm looking, in different reviews, and I don't see people really bringing that up. And in a way, I'm glad they didn't, because I had my own experience with it and my own reaction. But at the same time, I was getting very down the last couple of days, and I realized it's because I'm reading these books and paying them a lot of attention. And so there's great power in Colette's writing. And I am definitely recommending these two books 100%, and I'm very impatient to hear what other booktubers think of them. But hats off to Colette. What a writer, and what a mind. Okay, so that's it for today. It's been a week and I'm a bit tired, so I'll say goodbye and remind you that the only real property is the property of the mind. Actually, that's what Colette has reminded me this week as well. And I'll see you later. All the best. Bye bye.